Picture this. It's 3 a.m. You are completely dead to the world, having wonderful dreams, when suddenly, bam, a furry torpedo launches off your chest, knocks over your favourite water glass, and begins parkouring off the bedroom walls like a tiny furry ninja on a triple espresso bender. You groggily open your eyes, look at your beautiful, innocent-looking feline companion, and ask yourself, did my cat just break? Are they doing this out of pure, unadulterated spite? We've all been there, fellow cat parents. We look at our majestic orange tabbies, our sleek black voids, or our sassy calicos, and we wonder why they act the way they do. Well, hold on to your catnip, because today I'm going to reveal a massive secret. You see, for years you've probably been choosing your cats and judging their wild personalities based entirely on the wrong things. We are going to expose the hilarious, mind-bending truth about cat colours. But before we spill the feline tea, I need to know, what is the name of the furry hooligan currently ruining your sleep schedule? Drop their name and colour in the comments below. Before we dive into the colourful conspiracy, let's take a quick step back and look at what exactly a cat is. From a biological standpoint, your cute little Snuffles is an apex predator. Yes, that 10-pound fluff ball that gets terrified by a random cucumber on the kitchen floor shares an incredible amount of DNA with wild lions and tigers. Nature designed them to be solitary hunters, masters of stealth, and absolute champions of napping. A healthy adult cat can sleep up to 18 hours a day, which leaves them exactly 6 hours to demand wet food, stare menacingly at ghosts in the hallway, and reject the $100 orthopedic velvet cat bed you bought them in favour of the dirty Amazon cardboard box it arrived in. But as cats domesticated themselves, because let's be honest, they chose us, we didn't choose them, they started mutating into a beautiful rainbow of coat colours. And somewhere along the line, we humans decided that the colour of their fur was the magic decoder ring to their personality. But is it? Let's break it down. Let's kick things off with the absolute biggest trap that every single cat parent falls into, the illusion of choice. When you walk into an animal shelter or look at a litter of kittens, what happens? Your eyes immediately scan the room for the aesthetic. You see a pristine, snowy white kitten, or a striking silver tabby that looks like a miniature snow leopard, and your brain screams, that one! That's the majestic creature that will complete my aesthetic living room. You are essentially swiping right on Tinder, based purely on a heavily filtered profile picture. But here is the hilarious truth. Choosing a cat based purely on its paint job is like buying a used car because you like the colour red, completely ignoring the fact that the engine is a raccoon spinning on a wheel. We project these massive, romanticised personalities onto them based on their looks. Oh, a sleek black cat. They must be so mysterious and independent. Meanwhile, that same black cat is currently stuck in the sleeve of your winter coat, crying because they forgot how to walk backwards. We set ourselves up for failure the moment we let the colour of the fur blind us to the chaotic little goblin hiding underneath it. Now, we absolutely have to talk about the most famous feline stereotype on the internet, orange cat energy. Oh, the legendary ginger kitties. If you own an orange cat, you already know the joke. All orange cats in the world share a single brain cell, and it is almost never their turn to use it. You expect an orange cat to be goofy, endlessly hungry, highly affectionate, and phenomenally clumsy. We picture them attempting a graceful leap from the sofa to the counter, only to miscalculate by a solid 3 feet and slide down the cabinet like a tragic cartoon character. But why do we believe this? Well, here's a fun fact. Orange cats are overwhelmingly male. About 80% of them are boys. Because of this, what you are actually experiencing isn't some mystical orange personality, but rather standard male cat behaviour. Tomcats tend to be a bit more outgoing, a little more rambunctious, and generally more willing to trade their dignity for a piece of cheese. So, your orange cat isn't necessarily dumb. He's just a confident himbo who knows that if he acts foolish enough, you will immediately reward him with treats and belly rubs. Next up, let's step into the shadows and talk about the voids, our beautiful, often misunderstood black cats. For centuries, these miniature panthers have been carrying the absolute heaviest baggage in the feline world. Ridiculous myths have painted them as bad luck, witches' familiars, or spooky omens. But anyone who has actually been owned by a black cat knows the hilarious reality. They are usually the biggest, most pathetic crybabies on the planet. Instead of being mysterious creatures of the night, black cats are notorious Velcro cats. They want to be exactly where you are, preferably sitting directly on your laptop keyboard while you are trying to write an important email. The great irony of the black cat is that they look like fierce, shadowy assassins, but they have the personality of a golden retriever trapped in a feline body. The real danger of owning a black cat isn't bad luck. The real life-threatening danger is getting up to go to the bathroom at 2 a.m, not seeing them lying in the middle of the dark hallway, and accidentally kicking them like a fuzzy football, followed by 10 minutes of you apologising profusely to the darkness. All right, brace yourselves, because we are entering the danger zone. Tortoiseshells and the legendary phenomenon known as tortitude. If you have a tortie, you know exactly what I am talking about. These are the cats with the beautiful mottled black, orange and brown coats, and according to legend, they are the absolute divas of the cat world. They are highly vocal, incredibly demanding, and possess an attitude so spicy it could burn your tongue. A tortie will demand you pet her, purr like a diesel engine for exactly 4.5 seconds, and then suddenly bite your hand because you apparently petted her in the wrong font. But is tortitude real? Well, zoologists and veterinarians have actually studied this. While genetics plays a role in their wild coat, it also means almost all tortoiseshell cats are female. And female cats, especially when they are the queens of the house, tend to have very strong opinions about how their human staff should operate. So while science hesitates to officially declare tortitude a genetic fact, every single vet tech who has ever had to trim a tortie's claws will look you dead in the eye and tell you it is 100% real and terrifying. Moving right along, we have the glamorous cousins of the torties, the calico cats. These are the stunning tricolour beauties rocking black, white and orange. Much like tortoiseshells, calicos are overwhelmingly female. In fact, a male calico is a genetic anomaly, like finding a unicorn in your backyard. Because they are practically all females, they share that same fiercely independent, bossy energy. But calicos take it to a whole new level of royalty. If a calico lives in your house, you are not the homeowner, you are the humble peasant allowed to pay the mortgage. They are the kinds of cats that will stand by a full water bowl and scream at you until you turn on the bathroom sink, because tap water is for peasants, and they demand the finest flowing streams. People often choose calicos because their coats are literally unique. No two calicos have the exact same pattern. But they quickly realise they haven't adopted a pet. They have elected a dictator. They are incredibly loving, but only on their terms, on their schedule, and usually when you are right in the middle of reading a book. Now let's talk about the James Bonds of the feline universe, the tuxedo cats. Dressed to the nines, permanently ready for a high society gala, these black and white wonders are a staple of the cat world. People look at a tuxedo cat and expect elegance. You expect a cat that sips fine milk from a crystal goblet. But the reality, tuxedo cats are absolute clowns in formal wear. It is incredibly common for tuxedo cats to be absolute balls of hyperactive energy. They are the ones you'll find scaling the curtains, stealing the dog's toys, or trying to eat a piece of lint they found on the rug. The contrast is what makes it so funny. You have this creature that looks like it should be playing a grand piano, but instead, it is aggressively fighting its own tail in the middle of the living room rug. Tuxedo owners will tell you that these cats are freakishly smart, which makes their chaotic behaviour even worse. They figure out how to open cabinets, how to turn on faucets, and how to open the treat jar. You aren't bringing home a gentleman, you are bringing home a furry burglar in a tailored suit. Let's shift our focus to the angelic white cats. Pure white cats look like little clouds that floated down from the heavens. They look delicate, pristine, and gentle. Many people choose a white cat expecting a quiet, serene companion that will sit beautifully on a windowsill. But nature plays a very tricky game with white cats. There is a strong genetic link between the dominant white gene and deafness, especially if the white cat has 1 or 2 blue eyes. Because of this, a white cat's personality is often deeply shaped by how they experience the world. A deaf cat can't hear the vacuum cleaner, so they might seem incredibly brave and unfazed by chaos. On the flip side, they can't hear you walking up behind them, so they get startled easily. And here is the funniest part about deaf white cats. Because they can't hear themselves, they often have no concept of volume control. When they want food, they don't give a cute little meow. They unleash an earth-shattering demonic screech that rattles the windows. They are beautiful little snowballs that sound like a fire alarm going off. What about the grey cats, or as the fancy cat people call them, the blue cats? Breeds like the Russian blue, the chartreux, or just your standard domestic short-haired grey kitty. These cats exude an aura of aristocratic snobbery. They have this mesmerising silvery coat that makes them look like wise, ancient monks. The stereotype is that grey cats are aloof, quiet, and judging your life choices from the top of the refrigerator. And honestly, this stereotype is actually fairly accurate, but not for the reasons you think. Grey cats are often known to be deeply bonded to exactly one person in the household. They aren't actually snobs, they are just exclusive. If you are their chosen one, they will follow you into the bathroom, sit on your lap, and purr like crazy. But if a guest comes over, the grey cat will evaporate into thin air, only to be found 3 hours later, hiding inside a sock drawer. People choose them thinking they are getting a chill, low-maintenance decorative pet, only to realise they have adopted a tiny stalker who actively resents everyone else in the family. We absolutely cannot make a video about cat colours without honouring the backbone of feline society, the tabby cat. Now, tabby is not a breed, it's a coat pattern, but it is the original factory settings coat of the domestic cat. Whether they have stripes, swirls or spots, every tabby rocks that legendary M on their forehead. Legend says the M stands for master or mischief, and both are incredibly accurate. Tabbies are the closest link to their wild ancestors, the African wildcats. Because of this, tabbies often have incredibly high prey drives. They are the hunters. If a moth gets into your house, a tabby will absolutely destroy your entire living room trying to catch it. They are the standard issue cats. People often overlook them at shelters because they look common, which is a massive mistake. Tabbies are fiercely loyal, incredibly sturdy, and have personalities as big as a house. They are the blue-collar workers of the cat world. They don't need fancy outfits. They just want a good meal, a warm lap, and a laser pointer to chase until they pass out. Let's take a loud vocal turn and talk about the colour point cats. Think Siamese, Himalayan, or ragdoll patterns. These are the cats with a light body and dark ears, paws, faces, and tails. The fascinating thing about this colour pattern is that it is actually a form of temperature-sensitive albinism. The colder parts of their body grow dark fur, but nobody ever talks about the science when they bring one home. They only talk about the noise. If you bring home a cat with Siamese colour point genetics, you have essentially adopted a furry megaphone. These cats do not meow. They yell. They narrate their entire lives. They will yell at you because the food bowl is half empty. They will yell because the sun moved and their sunbeam is gone. They will yell just to hear the sound of their own majestic voices. People pick them because those striking blue eyes and toasted marshmallow coats are breathtaking. But you quickly learn that you haven't just gotten a pet. You have gotten a permanent roommate who constantly demands to speak to the manager of the house. But what about the dilute colours? The pale, muted versions of our favourite coats? The dilute calicos looking like faded watercolour paintings? The buff, creamy oranges? Or the soft lilacs? There is a psychological trick our brains play on us when we see pastel colours. We automatically assume that a softer, lighter colour means a softer, sweeter, more gentle personality. You look at a dilute calico and think, oh, she doesn't have tortitude. She's too pretty and pastel for that. Wrong. It is a complete trap. A dilute calico still has the exact same diva genetics as a bright, bold one. She will still smack the dog right on the nose and steal your favourite chair. A buff orange cat might look like a gentle toasted meringue, but he still shares that single, chaotic orange brain cell. Choosing a cat based on a dilute coat thinking you're getting a low-energy version is like buying a jalapeno painted pink and expecting it to taste like cotton candy. The spice is still in there, my friends. It's just wearing pastel camouflage. So, is there any actual hard science linking coat colour to personality, or are we all just collectively hallucinating? Well, scientists have actually debated this. Some researchers point out that the biochemical pathways that create melanin, the pigment that gives fur its colour, are closely linked to the pathways that produce neurotransmitters like dopamine and adrenaline. Theoretically, this means the chemicals making a cat's fur black or orange could be mingling with the chemicals that make them hyperactive or chill. In foxes and rats, breeding for certain coat colours definitely changed their temperament, but in domestic cats, the studies have been super mixed. A massive survey by UC Davis found that owners reported calicos and torties as more aggressive, but scientists suspect this is largely subjective. So while there might be a tiny, microscopic chemical connection between fur pigment and brain chemistry, it's not nearly enough to guarantee that your specific orange tabby is going to be a lovable idiot. The science is messy, just like a cat eating wet food. This brings us to a mind-blowing psychological concept called the observer expectation effect, or the self-fulfilling prophecy. This is the real reason you've been getting cat colours wrong for years. Because society tells us orange cats are goofy. When we adopt an orange kitten, we treat it like a goofball. We laugh at its mistakes, we play with it roughly, and we encourage its clownish behaviour. Because we expect a black cat to be affectionate, we constantly cuddle it. Because we expect a tortoiseshell to be sassy, every time she swats at us, we say, "Oh, there's that tortitude," and we back off, essentially training her that swatting works. We literally shape our cats' personalities to match the stereotypes of their coat colours. We are the architects of our own furry chaos. If you took a tiny orange kitten and treated it with the quiet reverence you give a Russian blue, you might end up with a very serious, stoic ginger cat. But we don't, because we want the memes to be true. We are manifesting the very behaviours we claim are built into their fur. This entire colour misconception leads to a genuinely tragic phenomenon in the rescue world known as black cat syndrome. Because people are so blinded by coat colours, they walk into shelters looking for unique patterns, dilute torties, or majestic whites. Black cats and standard brown tabbies are consistently the last to be adopted and the first to be euthanised. People subconsciously think black cats are boring, or, worst of all, they don't look good in Instagram photos. This is the absolute biggest mistake you can make as a prospective cat parent. By skipping the plain black cat or the standard tabby, you are often walking right past the most affectionate, emotionally intelligent, and loving cats in the entire building. If you want a pro tip for getting the absolute best cat ever, go to a shelter, completely ignore what colour they are, and ask the staff which cat has been here the longest and is the biggest snuggle bug. I guarantee you will walk out with a majestic mini panther or a striped tabby that will love you with the intensity of 1,000 suns. Another massive area where people get cat colours totally wrong is confusing a coat pattern with an actual breed. If I had $1 for every time someone pointed to a street cat and said, "Oh, look, a Bengal," or "Wow, a purebred Maine Coon," just because the cat had spots or long hair, I could afford to buy my cats the premium salmon pâté every day. The vast, overwhelming majority of cats in the world, like 95% of them, are domestic short hairs or domestic long hairs. They are a glorious genetic soup of random cats mixing together in the streets. A cat being grey does not make it a Russian blue. A cat having a colour point face does not make it a purebred Siamese. True breeds have specific, bred-in personality traits that have been refined over generations. A true ragdoll will go limp in your arms. A true Bengal will need a running wheel because they have endless energy. But your standard alley cat that happens to look like a Bengal's, they might just want to sleep on your radiator for 14 hours. Don't confuse the paint job with the car manufacturer. Let's also talk about the mesmerising synergy between coat colour and eye colour, because this is another trap people fall into. When picking a cat, people are totally seduced by the eyes. You see a pure black cat with piercing, copper orange eyes, and you feel like you're looking at a magical Halloween creature. You see a white cat with heterochromia, one blue eye, one green eye, and you think you found a mystical being. But here's the funny truth about cat eyes. All kittens are born with blue eyes. They don't settle into their true colour until they are several weeks old, and the amount of melanin in their coat directly dictates the possible eye colours they can have. White cats have the highest chance of keeping those kitten blue eyes, while black cats almost always end up with green, yellow or copper. We look into those big, beautiful eyes and project human emotions onto them. Oh, his amber eyes look so soulful and wise. No, Brenda, he isn't wise. He is currently calculating the exact trajectory needed to knock your coffee mug off the table without making a sound. We also have to acknowledge how gender sneaks into the colour conversation and messes up our data. As I mentioned earlier, orange cats are overwhelmingly male, and calicos/torties are overwhelmingly female. This genetic quirk means that when we talk about orange cat behaviour, we are mostly talking about boy cat behaviour. Male cats are often more laid back, goofy, and fiercely attached to their human moms. Female cats, on the other hand, are the matriarchs. In the wild, females run the colonies. They are hyper-alert, protective, and run a tight ship. So when we look at our sassy female calico, we blame the three-colour coat, when in reality, we are just dealing with a strong, independent feline woman who does not have time for your nonsense. If the genetics were flipped and orange cats were mostly female, we would probably be talking about orange attitude instead of tortitude. It is a hilarious mix-up of biology that has fueled internet cat memes for the last decade. But here is the ultimate equalizer, the great feline truth that absolutely shatters the importance of coat colour. The 3 AM zoomies do not discriminate. It does not matter if your cat is a pristine white angel, a sleek black panther, a goofy orange tabby, or a diluted tortoiseshell. When the clock strikes witching hour, the wild ancestral instincts take over. Their pupils dilate until their eyes look like black saucers, their ears pin back, their tail puffs up, and suddenly the hallway becomes an Olympic track. This behaviour is rooted deep in their biology. Cats are crepuscular, meaning they are naturally most active at dawn and dusk. So when you are trying to sleep, their body clock is screaming, "It is time to hunt the invisible mice." You can pick the calmest looking colour in the shelter, but you cannot escape the zoomies. The zoomies are inevitable. The zoomies are the great unifier of the feline race. If you own a cat, you must accept the midnight parkour, regardless of the fur colour. If you really want to know the truth about cat behaviour, you shouldn't ask the internet. You should ask a veterinarian. Vets and vet techs have an entirely different ranking system for cat colours based entirely on survival instincts. If you bring a sweet floppy orange cat into the vet, the staff will usually coo over him and give him treats, expecting him to just sit there like a happy potato. But if you walk in with a calico or a tortoiseshell, you will see the vet techs exchange a nervous glance. They literally have stickers for the medical charts that say spicy or will bite. Vets will tell you that while colour might not perfectly predict personality at home, in high-stress situations like the clinic, the stereotypes absolutely come out to play. The black cats will try to melt into the exam table to become invisible. The orange boys will try to eat the stethoscope, and the torties will unleash a fury that requires thick leather gloves and a prayer. It's the ultimate test of feline personality. So, what is the ultimate takeaway from all this? The biggest mistake you can make is letting a colour palette dictate your choice of a best friend. Cats are incredibly complex, deeply emotional creatures. Their personality is shaped by their early socialisation as kittens, how long they stayed with their mother, the environment you provide for them, and yes, a tiny sprinkle of wacky genetics. The real way to choose a cat has nothing to do with looking at them. The real way is to go to the shelter, sit down on the floor, and wait. You wait for the cat that walks up to you, sniffs your knee, and aggressively headbutts your hand. You wait for the cat that climbs into your lap and starts purring like a broken refrigerator. It might be an orange goofball, a sassy calico, or a plain black void. But in that moment, the colour ceases to matter. They have chosen you, and once a cat chooses you, you are theirs for life. You just have to accept your new role as their humble servant, can opener, and heated furniture. And there you have it, fellow cat parents. The grand illusion of cat colours has finally been busted. Now you know exactly what is going on inside that furry little head, whether they are an orange himbo with a single brain cell, a spicy tortie ruling the house with an iron paw, or a black cat desperately trying to trip you in the dark. The truth is, we don't pick their personalities based on their coats. We shape them with our love. And despite all the 3 a.m. wake-up calls, the knocked-over water glasses, and the endless demand for treats, we wouldn't trade our furry little overlords for anything in the world. They bring endless joy, chaos, and love into our homes. If this video made you look at your cat differently, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on more feline secrets, and definitely share this video with a fellow cat lover to blow their mind. Now, I want to hear from you. What colour is your cat? And do they actually fit the stereotype? Or are they a total rebel? Let's argue about it in the comments below. See you next time, and go give your kitty a chin scratch for me.